If you've ever had someone come up to you and share about something painful going on in their life, you know that can be incredibly overwhelming. If you think that you might have a conversation like that in the future and you want to be prepared, I recommend these 4 things. Number 1, the next time someone comes to you, the first thing you want to do is to recognize and reaffirm. What I mean by that is recognize the courage that it took for them to come to you. The more that you can reaffirm and reassure them that they made the right move, it's going to start that conversation on the best tone possible. What that looks like is something like this. Saying something along the lines of, I recognize it took a lot of courage for you to come and tell me this. Thank you so much for trusting me with that. Or, I think it's incredibly brave of you to share this with me, to share this with anybody. And I know that you're going to make it through this and you have whatever it takes to work through this process. Or, I just want to let you know that I don't see you any differently now that you shared this with me. And I'm so glad that you came to me and we can find a way through this. The second thing that you're going to want to do is to ask them to share their story, and then you're going to listen for the hidden details. It's not about just listening to the surface events of what happened. It's about the heart matters, the belief matters, and the mindsets that are attached to that situation. Some of the questions that you can ask so that you can reach below the surface are, what are you afraid of? What do you feel? What are some of the things that are going on that you feel like you have no control over? Where have you tried to get help and it hasn't worked before? What would you like to happen in this situation? How are you doing now? You see, these things give us background information. We're able to kind of assess where we need to move on from there. I especially think it's important to ask, where have you tried to get help before and it hasn't worked? Because we don't want to offer the same suggestions all over again, especially if someone else did not follow through correctly. Then if we go down that same path, we might actually find a roadblock where someone does not want to continue with us because they think that we're just going to give them the same advice that the last guy did and maybe offer the same result that the last person did. So finding that out is going to help you and give you a better advantage so you can find them real and legitimate help. The third thing that you're going to do is find the next steps. Just sharing and listening to somebody's story is helpful and might be all that somebody needs. But I think the majority of the time, they actually want to have a follow-up action plan. And here's how you can do that. Number 1, you might need to share a story of your own life for relatability's sake. They just might need to know that hope is possible and that there is a way to walk through the situation and know that a good outcome can be on the other side. Your story may not relate, it might. It's for you to judge and determine whether or not that's helpful. But relatability can be key in moments of great vulnerability. The second thing that you might be able to offer is a teaching moment. And so if someone is looking for advice and they just need some insight, you can offer that. But more often than not, someone is actually looking for an actionable step. What I mean by that is they might need some more help than you can give them, and that's okay. One of the best things that we can do for someone who is struggling is point them in the right direction and be with them as they are on that journey. Oftentimes someone needs good professional counseling. They may need medical care. They might need to get out of a bad situation, and you may not be in control of having all of the power to get them out of that situation, but somebody else might. You have to judge and determine whether or not getting other people involved is necessary, if it's legally required, or if it's a suggestion that you can offer. I advise you to go to your state's local law to figure out whether or not those things are a factor in your case and in your situation. But beyond that, it's about forming a plan. It's about letting that person know, here is one thing that you can do, that I can do, or that we can do together, so you don't feel so trapped or so stuck inside of the situation alone, that there is a way through it. The fourth thing that you can do is make a commitment to journey with them. You see, it's not enough to just listen, and it's not enough to just make a plan. Oftentimes, especially when someone is struggling, they need someone to walk with them through that journey. And so make that commitment. As you're meeting with them, let them know, I am going to be here for you. And then this is what it looks like. It means I'm going to check in with you once a week, once a day, whatever it needs to be, whatever is appropriate for your situation. And then set reminders for yourself so you make sure you actually follow up. Consistency is key, especially in situations where there is trauma or great pain. The way someone heals is when they have someone consistently invested in their wholeness and in their journey. Those are going to be the things that set you up to win, that help you to stay with that person through the journey, but also helps them to find the healing that they're looking for. And as a side note, you may not have all of the tools and resources to help the individual that you're working with. You may not know the best action plan for them, and that's okay. I'm not saying that you need to have all the answers, but what I would encourage you to do is to research and figure out what some of those options are. If you can lay those opportunities in front of someone so they can see what taking action would look like, it is going to help them have the courage and the confidence to take that next step. How do you do that? I suggest getting online and researching. It can be as simple as typing up the issue that your individual is working with, and then the name of your state, the name of your county, the name of your town, and figuring out what is available in your location. Also, call a hotline. These are people who are trained and who have a network of resources available to them when people call in. And you can call and just say, hey, I have a friend. I'm working with someone, and I don't know if they're ready to call a hotline yet, but I want to be ready with resources to help them. Can you help me? Go to a local library. Go to a community guidance center. Do anything that you need to do so you can get information and know how to point someone in the right direction. And it's going to help them feel like they have opportunities and have actionable steps that they can move towards.